Right, greetings and welcome back. We're continuing on the twin stick shooter game process. Now up to this point we've got a character, he's animated, he can shoot bad guys. If he gets chomped on too much, he eventually dies. You'll notice that his gun, however, is not really in his hand. It's just kind of bolted to the side of his capsule. So it's kind of floating there in space. As a matter of fact, when he gets killed, it just continues floating in the air. So in this video, I want to solve that problem. We're going to actually attach the gun to the character's hand properly so that everything looks right. Now the way you handle this is inside of Persona using a special object called a socket. So let's go into our animation assets, and I want to specifically grab the animation idle rifle hip. The reason I'm choosing this is because it's a nice animation where the character is really just standing there with a gun looking impressive. So let's go into the skeleton tab so we can see this nice and big up close. And what I want to do is look down here in the list of all of the bones in our character, and I'm specifically looking for the right hand, because the right hand is where he's going to be holding his gun. So there it is. There is our right hand bone. Now, this is really simple. Creating a socket's a very easy process. We're just going to right click on hand R and choose add socket. And we're going to name it. Let's call it gun socket. Cool. Now, what is a socket? A socket is just a transform that is parented to a specific bone. And by transform, I mean just another object that you can move, rotate, and scale. And it's going to be parented to a specific bone. So wherever the bone goes, that little transform, that little socket is going to move right along with it. Now, if you're already a 3D animator, which you may not be, and that's okay. If you're already a 3D animator, this is just like using a helper object in Max or like a locator in Maya. So let's now take our gun socket, and the nice thing about sockets is you can right click on them and you can add preview assets to see what a certain asset would look like. So we can choose our little FP gun, and there we go. Our gun magically appears right there on our character. Now, this is just for previewing purposes. This is not permanent. This is not actually attaching the gun. But the useful thing is now we can select the gun socket. We can get out our transform tools like move, rotate, and scale with W, E, and R. Let's get rotate out with E, and we can rotate the gun forward 90 degrees. And let's get the move tool out, and we can just kind of slide it along here. It's probably not going to fit 100% perfectly, but that should be okay for our purposes. I mean, you're viewing the game from up above anyway, so you can't really tell if there's little tiny discrepancies. Pull that in just a little bit, give his fingers a little bit more room. And there you go. Looks like he's holding the gun. It's not bad. Okay, so again, this is not really attaching the gun. This is just testing it out. So let's save that. Now, we should test this once again because we rotated our gun when we set up the weapon blueprint. So here's what we're going to do next. Let's go into our hero character. And way up here in our begin play event, we had our sequence, and then we have our weapon setup. And what we were attaching to is the gun temp object. Well, let's not do that anymore. Instead of gun temp, we'll just delete that out, and we'll delete out the involved reroute nodes as well. Let's instead use the skeletal mesh. So we're going to spawn it at the location of the skeletal mesh. And then let's use the mesh as the parent as well. And then let me really quickly double click that wire and create some reroute nodes to kind of clean this up, make it a little easier to see. Now the nice thing is that since we were attaching the actor to component, that node includes a socket name. So we can just feed this gun socket. And that's it. We're now attaching the gun to the actual skeletal mesh, specifically to that socket that we just placed on the mesh a moment ago. So let's compile, save, go back into the arena map and play. And it looks like we are rotated by 90 degrees. I was kind of afraid of that when we first set up our weapon. Fortunately, it's a super, super easy fix. We're just gonna go into our blueprints, open up the weapon. Let's grab the gun mesh, and let's just take his rotation, and let's just zero it out and see what that buys us in terms of this character. So there we go. We didn't need to rotate the mesh at all. So now he's holding the gun the way he should, and he can fire it, and everything looks really, really nice. So he's doing all of his heroic shooting, but if he gets killed, he still holds onto the gun. So pretty nice, right? This was a pretty short video, but I mean, it's a really simple thing to do, just getting the gun to attach to the character. But that is going to wrap things up, so thank you very much for joining us.